Alright, welcome back to my Sorare journey. I might have to call this my football journey now because I've got an NBA one as well. So if you like this series, go check that one out. It's been fun. But right now we are building for, Operation Santa, which is delivering by Christmas. If you watched the last episode, we have an absolute disaster class. The worst week we've had on Sorare, and it's been kind of very difficult to adjust. We have all these plans and they've just fallen apart. That's not going to stop us, right? We've been building. We got Simon in the last episode, the goalkeeper for Spain, and then I've just been debating whether I go for a World Cup team or whether I stay with my La Liga 2 plans and adapt them into the World Cup. Because if you've seen the projections for the World Cup, first thing I'll say, the Global Cup, the World Cup on Sorare essentially, is absolutely massive. It's one of the best things I've ever seen. I reckon there's over £100,000 of rewards and everyone can play for free. So if you haven't signed up for that, I'm sure you have, but go check that out. It's ludicrous that they've done that. I think it could be huge for Sorare long term. It's built my confidence in them. Hopefully it brings on some more users and, just spreads the kind of joy of Sorare. But we did get sidetracked there, sorry. So essentially, do we use All-Star Rare or do we play the World Cup mode? I think it's called like an international special. Not like, obviously we're playing the free-to-play mode. Do we play the international special paid division in Rare? Or do we stick in All-Star Rare, get thresholds, add some of our La Liga 2 monsters like Jonathan Vieira? And to be honest, we're right in the middle of it right now. I'm going to have to show you who I've picked up immediately. This guy, I love this player for so long. He went for like how would you call it? Like a grudge stage? No. Like, essentially, he went from a really liked individual to someone that wasn't liked so much because of a transfer move. He's gone back to his original club. He's back to being that hero. He's back to being the fun lad that everyone loves. And I think I got a great deal on this guy. Antoine Griezmann. I'm just thinking, if France go on a run, this guy's at the middle of everything France do. I think he's on corners, free kicks. He's going to be setting up Mbappe and setting up Benzema. And not at the price, not even like half the price of a Benzema. I'm really excited for this. And on top of that, I'm not just building for this week. I have like long term in plan. So, he's starting to get good scores again for Atletico Madrid. It's just, I think he's a player that's got a lot of potential. If you've watched the Sorare TV Looking Up series with Looking Up with Led and Harry Trades and Sam, essentially they said about a month ago that it's looking up for Antoine Griezmann, and they did kind of agree, and the market agreed as well. The prices went up. But yesterday I found an absolute bargain. Check this one out. So obviously, as the World Cup becomes closer, someone like Griezmann, that's almost a nailed starter in a big team, is just going to rocket in value. If you look at Lautaro Martinez's price, you'll see an example of that, right? And it's exactly what's happened. It's up at like £1,300. If we zoom out a little bit, he even sold for £1,400. And he's actually been coming down in price. And this has happened to a lot of Sorare cards value. It's slowly trickling down. But not really the World Cup stars, right? People that don't have utility are trickling down for a multitude of reasons, but one of the big ones is they're not going to be playable for at least a month if they're not going to the World Cup. And even on auctions, he's selling for £1,100, like slightly less, but in the region you'd expect. Someone got a deal at 1,000. And then yesterday, out of nowhere, one's on offer, a brand new season card for 846. I was like, buy. Admittedly, I didn't have enough balance, so yes, I had to go put a little bit of extra money in. I think I'm putting an ETH in, which last year would have been £4,000. This year it's about £1,000, which is painful for someone that is a crypto guy like me, and ETH is their favourite cryptocurrency. So yeah, tough. But back to Sorare, what a deal. And while you're thinking, it's not that good a deal, someone bought one later for £50 more. So essentially 2 people must have been having a price battle, undercutting. I woke up and I was like, what are people putting him at that price for? Snap that one up. And then someone's like, now this one's the lowest on the market and it's still a good price. I'll snap that one up. So yeah, essentially it's just people undervaluing their cards. But how am I so confident they're undervaluing their cards? Because I use the limited market. This is what I don't see people doing enough, right? In limited, he goes for 162 to 131 in that region. Rare cards are getting to the point where they're minimum 10 times a rare price. So if you 10x the lowest value here, 131, that's 1,300. We almost got that half price, and that's why I'm so confident it's a good pickup. My concerns are that Nkunu's been on absolute monster form for Leipzig, and I was like, is he going to get a start? I asked Genesis, who knows a lot about French football, and I hope he knows a lot about the national team. I asked him on Twitter in front of everyone. It's not like in the DMs or anything. I was like, what are the chances that Nkunku starts over Griezmann? And he said 0%. That gave me enough confidence. And, everything I've seen is that Griezmann's going to start. He is like the France wonder kid, essentially. He gets on, well with the manager. He's done really well for them in previous tournaments. I've loved watching him. I still remember actually was it the last World Cup? He must have been on penalties then. I bet Mbappe takes it off him now. But yeah, Griezmann's got a big shot. Even if you go back and look at like stats, for the World Cup qualifying, I think he's France's top scorer, which would surprise you. But yeah, France haven't been on great form, but I do expect them to make it better during the World Cup. In terms of my predictions for the World Cup, I think that people are underestimating France, partly because of the winner's curse where they go out in the first round, and partly because they've lost their midfield. But if they're bringing in Pogba and Kante, if they're bringing in Tchouaméni and Camavinga, I've watched enough Real Madrid to know that shouldn't really be an issue, and the rest of the team is just bulletproof, and they've got good depth, which is obviously important now. You can make 5 subs. So yeah, excited for France. On top of that, I'll be supporting the boy, Lionel Messi, the GOAT. Ideally, if I had a team that could win it, it is Argentina, just so we have that perfect last dance. Messi wins everything, cements himself as the greatest of all time. And then alternatively, it's Brazil. I mean, yes, I picked the three favourites, but I really don't see anyone apart from those 3 winning. There are some good squads out there, don't get me wrong, but Brazil are just... their attack is just so deadly and there's so much depth. I mean, you're probably going to start with Neymar, Rafinha, and Vinicius Jr. And then in behind of that, you can take Richarlison, you can take Jesus. Pasquetta plays at like cam for them. I think he's a starter. There's just going to be goals galore in that team. So between those 3 are where I'm kind of positioning my gallery. And if I'm thinking about the teams, Brazil are our favourites, but that wing back is really scaring me if they're going to play Sandro and Danilo there. I would play a back 3 of like Eder Militao, Marquinhos, Thiago Silva. Good knowledge. So they could do that, and that would make them my favourites, just because there isn't a weak spot in the team, essentially. But yeah, I think a South American team will be bringing it home if I had the choice, and that's how I'm positioning my gallery. This is a team we have planned. So like I said, big push for Argentina players, because I think they'll go really well. They play well together. Messi I'm supporting, a little bit biased obviously. So Rodrigo de Paul and Di Maria look pretty nailed in the team, so they're reasonable value. If you're watching at home, I think de Paul's a better pick up than Di Maria, because Di Maria you're picking up for the World Cup and he's like extortionately overpriced because Juventus don't have new cards, so you don't have that extra supply coming on board. Linking them up with Griezmann, I'm also thinking beyond that, so I can stack Atletico Madrid, which admittedly isn't the best stack ever, but I'm not trying to compete for first place. I'm kind of competing for like tier 1s with this team. And the reason I'm building in Champion Europe is obviously if the Premier League comes on board, Champion Europe players winning Premier League cards, it's a no-brainer. And then at the back, a little bit questionable. Simon, we didn't have a choice on, but I absolutely love him as a pickup. It's not so much for the World Cup, even though he is pretty much nailed, because De Gea didn't even get in the squad, which was fantastic to know. Cheers to whoever helped me in the last video. And then Sule, I thought he was nailed for Germany. Turns out it might not be completely nailed, so I might try and swap him. If I can swap him into Pavard and pay a little premium, I'll do that every day at the moment, but it just depends how much funding we've got after, trying to pick up these players. But like I said, it can't just be fully focused on the World Cup. You've got to think beyond. So these 4 are great. I can pick up someone for Di Maria on the cheap, a £100 Champion Europe player. Should be fine. Sule, the problem is, these are all obviously La Liga players set for Sule. And obviously we're saying we can pick up £100, defensive stack, probably from Bilbao. But Sule, Bundesliga have a longer break. And even if I get Pavard, he's still in the Bundesliga. So Jules Koundé makes sense, but he's under 23. He's a little bit more expensive, and he's got the injury risk that he might not start the first couple of games. So I've got a lot of thinking to do on the World Cup team, but this is kind of where it's going to be about in that region. If you've seen the last couple of episodes, I've still got my monster limited team, which I did debate selling. I got rid of Benzema to fund some transactions, but yeah. If you didn't know what I was talking about with the under-23 goalkeeper, it's Julian Aguirrezabalaga. One of the hardest names to say. We love butchering names on this channel. We don't care how it's actually pronounced. That's what we're going with. He is 21 years old, and apparently he is just a demon in goal. Obviously not as good as Unai Simon, but doesn't really matter. We picked him up for 578. Essentially, he's an insurance plan, right? If Simon gets injured, he comes in. And the best case scenario, like we said already, is Simon gets a transfer elsewhere. He comes in as first choice. We've got an under-21, under-23 goalkeeper for Sorare for the next 2 years. And he's in a good defensive team. So hope that comes true. But like I said, he's an insurance plan, an expensive one, but with high upside. I absolutely love the fact I've got both of them. So we're just about to send this offer to Pavel, an absolute load of players, Di Maria and a little bit of Eve. We'll see if he accepts. I'll show you the workings on it just to kind of understand what I'm doing here. So this is the offer I pretty much just sent, including some Eve. And you're probably looking at it thinking like, what are you doing? You've tried in £514 for £382 worth of player. Well, the problem is, I can't use pretty much any of these players. The only ones with games during the World Cup is Bono, right? And I already have Alisson, who's just never going to be dropped for Bono, ever. And then, the problem is the super rare is so illiquid. It's so rare that someone wants to go out and buy this particular super rare. And then on top of that, what price am I going to get? I have to sell them every single day. It's going to take ages. So Pavel will only accept, I actually messaged him, he'll only accept 2 extra rare. Which is sometimes unfair, but in this case scenario, I think it's pretty fair. And then, like I said, no one else is really valuable. So if you take off £100, which is the difference between the average price and the rare, we're at 414, and then you add a little bit of ETH to make up the 15-20% that they want. I really hope he accepts this, because that would be perfect for me. Like I said, Di Maria is not a great buy. I think he's a little bit overvalued, but he makes so much sense for my plan. And if only one of the players are like a little bit overvalued, I can deal with that, especially if I've got a great deal on Griezmann. So that's pretty much what we've done. And honestly, we've just been sending out offers on offers on offers on offers, just trying to get something done. I was willing to get rid of Vieira. I was willing to get rid of everyone. This is actually how we picked up Sule. So we've done it before and we've been successful. We added 0.2, and you might be wondering, why are you adding 0.2 to these deals? Like, surely you want to like minimize your ETH. And I absolutely did. I was trying to sell my Callum McGregor rare, and he was offering at like 0.2 for McGregor, and he's worth like 0.3. And I was like, right, well, I'll just chuck in 0.2 and we'll make it a deal then. And then I can sell McGregor for hopefully 0.3, although I'm not keen on selling McGregor because obviously Celtic fan, and he's just back from injury. It's just, I needed to raise funds. I need people that can play immediately and score immediately. Yes, there's a little bit of World Cup FOMO, but I think I've also got a good chance of winning something good. So we got rid of the Potter, who's not playing. Bachmann was fantastic, but the only reason I got him is for like a quiet, limited keeper during the kind of new season when they come back, and I can get another one. Doesn't matter about that. Koita, Bruno, Dyke, all injured. Biala. We've already got the rare now. We don't need a limited as well. Akoi, I'm so tired of waiting. Luis Araujo, good. Everyone thinks he's going up in value. Everyone thinks all of the MLS cards are going to go up in value again. And I am suspicious. I don't think it will happen as big as everyone said. Yes, of course, they'll creep up in demand a little bit. But the thing with cycles, right, is that when people understand cycles, sometimes they don't fulfill the prophecy as much as you would expect. And let me explain that a little more clearly. If everyone thinks MLS cards are going to rally in value towards the end, then no one's selling them now. And the previous issue is that no one knew, not enough people knew that selling your cards at the end of the MLS season was the worst possible scenario because you're getting absolutely awful value. Now everyone knows, everyone holds on to them, tries to sell them into the start of the new season. And yes, they'll be worth more at the start of the new season, but when you include the new season supply, it doesn't work out. I think it won't work out as well as people are saying. So I'm actually avoiding MLS cards. Any that I've got, I'm getting rid of. Fine, low value. We'll see if I'm wrong. But we saw this even better in the build up to the start of the European season. And the European season on Sorare is like double the size of importance compared to the MLS season. I bought so many players at the start of the season. They went up in value. They were worth so much for the first 2 game weeks. New season supply came out. Everyone tried to sell them. They just got cut back to even lower. They got back to July prices. So I'm not focusing on the capital appreciation now. I'm focusing on winning cards. I'm focusing on being better than other people on this game. And we'll see how it works. I think, I'm excited for it, essentially. I think it's a good strategy. The biggest headache we have left is the main man, Jonathan Vieira, 1 of 100. This guy is like the best scorer at the World Cup outside of Messi, Neymar, and Mbappe. And he's like 1/10 of the price. But the problem is I have been so screwed with the fixtures because all of the La Liga 2 cards play in the current game week we're in, except for Las Palmas, who play in the next game week. So now I have Vieira, who doesn't have a game this week, whilst all my other players are playing. So then we come to the upcoming game week, we go to my teams, we're looking for the All-Star Rare Pro, which will probably drop into All-Star Rare once we get, like, say, Di Maria, for example, and that would be a pretty solid All-Star Rare team. But next week, we're going to have the same team. Ignore Rioja, right? We'll put Rogic there just to make it a little bit more easy to follow. So next week, all of these will be playing, and Vieira won't be. And then I'll have my Granada boys back, and then I'll have all my other cards coming back. I have like 5 or 6 good La Liga 2 cards that can put up scores on a cheap, which could compare to some of the World Cup teams. But then, I'm not having a goalkeeper. The only goalkeeper I can use is Unai Simon. And if I'm using Simon, I'm getting rid of Sule and Griezmann. Or the alternative is I use my La Liga 2 cards and Simon. Well, that's one case scenario, sorry if I made this unclear, as I use Unai Simon at the World Cup and all my La Liga 2 cards, or a mixture and match. But if I mix and match, they all are in All-Star Rare or All-Star Rare Pro. But you want them in the International Cup because there's much better returns, right? If I just look at the tournaments here, you go to All-Star Rare, there's 5,000 people competing for 229 cards. If you go to International, there's 958 people competing for 250 cards and more ETH prizes and these like collectible series cards, which I think is a really good idea. We'll see if it works or not, but besides the point. Essentially, if you've got World Cup players, you need to go out and play the World Cup game modes because they've boosted the prizes to do marketing, to make everyone happy during the World Cup, which I'm absolutely so buzzing for. But I can't get rid of Vieira. I can't, or can I? I mean, I don't know where you value him. I want to see your guys' thoughts on this. So I knew this was coming. I knew this price drop was coming. I was trying to trade him away. But essentially, he was at 2,300 on average. So anyone you're negotiating with that takes 20%, add Vieira and take, let's say, a Benzema. Let's take an absolute monster player. He came down to 1,500. I knew it was coming because he's finishing in the middle of the night. He had just came off of a bad score and he didn't have a game for the next game week. So all of the bad scenarios, I knew he was coming down, and I think 1,500 is fair. But now he's sold at that price. That becomes the last sale. So now everyone's basing it off that price. That's why he's about 1,600 if you wanted to pick him up today. So I'm expecting the last average of like 66 throughout the World Cup, which not many players will be doing. But if I play him, I'll be playing him in All-Star. And I've just shown you All-Star rewards are not even close to the International Special. So I might have to sell one of my favourite players, the guy that's done so much for me. But yeah, I guess you'll see next episode because I haven't made a decision on it yet. Oh, Pavel, man, come on. Oh, that was a fair deal. I'm pretty much just going to keep offering more ETH, I think, because I really want Di Maria now. Like, this is the bias showing in where I just want to support Argentina. I've got my Argentina top. You've probably seen it in the last episode. If Messi could secure the World Cup, it would make me very happy. And then on top of that, Di Maria is going to put up some massive scores because, yeah, he plays really well for Argentina. But I think that's where we're going to have to leave the kind of building for now because I don't know what I'm going to do. What I am planning, though, and this is for the hardcores that stay to the end, is a World Cup game mode or a World Cup private league. What I'll be doing is I'll be running a private league. And yes, everyone and their mother is doing a private league at the moment because A, they're fun, and B, it gets people involved. But the thing I'm not liking, or the thing I don't want my league to be, is that everyone gets involved. Everyone just jump in this league and I'll put some prizes up, and it's mainly for you, really, right? Like it's for your own ego, like loads of people joining, I think. And then also Sorare have funded some of them, which is fine, but yeah. Like to only fund the big guys is like a bit of kicking the teeth for the smaller guys, I think, like myself. But that's besides the point. What I wanted to do with this private league is reward people that have always supported the channel, always watched the videos, and helped me out, right? So anyone that's commented in like the last 4 videos, I'll be reaching out to and including in the league. I'll try and reach out to you on YouTube or whatever, because obviously I've got to kind of keep the league code pretty secret. If you don't get in the league and you get the league code before, if I give you the league code and you don't join before it starts, that's going to be tough luck, really. You've got to be quick. This isn't for everyone. This is for a very specific group of people. The reason I can't say like what the prizes are or who's going to be in it or whatever is because I haven't built the prizes. Like I saw people doing like all the signed jerseys, obviously from Sorare. Some limited cards are great. They'll probably be included in some of my prizes. But I love like McBride Aces League. If you've seen his, they're taking his team for like a week, and if he wins anything, he gives it to them, and they get to choose the team and stuff. I think that's fantastic. So I want to try something clever like that. So I'm still thinking of the rewards, but obviously I don't just want to carbon copy McBride because that's his league and that's his like selling point, right? So if you are this far in the video and you want to be involved in the private league, you want to win some rewards for free, if you can beat me obviously in my private league, and I'll be taking it very seriously, drop a comment below. Make it visible that you've stayed to the end of the video, right? Tell me something that happened at the end of the video or about the private league. I don't really care. But yeah, tell me about that. I'll pick a few of you that already aren't included from commenting in the last videos before you knew this was happening, and we'll get a league of a good couple of people. I hope that makes it clear. I hope you like my Sorare journey. It's been a ride. We are still trying to deliver before Christmas. If you think we can, drop us a like. If you've never seen me before, a lot of you aren't subscribed, so go and click that subscribe button. And yeah, I guess all the rest to say is all the best to you. Cheers. Now, Pavel, accept my offer, man. Come on.